I call the meeting of the Clarkson Independence District Library Board of Trustees to order at 6 p.m. We now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Jan Gaffney. Here. Michelle Ginn.
Here.
Mary absent. Mary Hamburg.
Here.
Allison McFadden Kiesling. Here. And Conrad absent. And I was absent. Julie Meredith here.
Do I have a motion for approval of agenda?
So moved.
Second.
So Jan Gaffney is first, and okay, thank you.
Emily, I jumped on that.
The motion has been made to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our call to public. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have forgotten your name. So
Hi, Nancy.
Nancy, thank you.
Just a couple points. Wanted to say that our fall book sale was a real success, and a big part of that was due to the credit card machine, which brought in an extra $1,600.
Wow. That is well worth it.
The holiday book sale is Saturday, December 1st. There'll be a church book sale, bake sale in the lobby, and the Board of Scouts will also be selling their papers in the lobby. This Thursday, 7 o'clock in this room, is the general membership for the Friends group. Please come.
Thank you. Thank you. Lots of good stuff happening. Consent agenda. Are there any questions, additions, amendments?
Move that we approve it as presented.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very quiet. Library statistics.
They didn't give me any additional commentary on the statistics this time, so.
No additional commentary on the statistics.
Yeah, nothing special in the commentary. Looks like downloads are up again. Study room usage is up again. Children's and teen programs are up, so. This year over last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the director's report.
Okay. Under general information, late Friday afternoon, we sensed a few whiffs of gasoline in various areas of the building, but could not pinpoint a source. So we called the fire department and Consumers Energy to investigate. Special sensors revealed very small amounts of gas near HVAC unit number 3 on the roof. We're escaping. The fire department turned off the gas and the power to the unit, leaving the other 4 HVAC units to maintain heat to the building. On Saturday morning, our HVAC contractor came to check the unit and discovered the igniter needed to be replaced. This means that it wasn't lighting the gas to start the unit, so small amounts of gas were being released into the air each time the unit attempted to turn on. The reason we were getting whiffs of it inside the building is because the wind was pushing hints of it toward the economizer, which is the feature on our system that draws fresh outside air into the building. To put everyone's mind at ease, it was not a gas leak. According to both the fire department and Consumers Energy technician, because our gas line and all of our gas-powered appliances, which are the 5 HVAC units, are on the roof, even if there had been a gas leak, an explosion would be extremely unlikely. Explosions are caused by a buildup of gas in a confined space that ignites. In our case, there is no confined space, so the gas simply dissipates into the outside air. Having said all that, thank you to the library staff and patrons in the Independence Township Fire Department and Consumers Energy and our HVAC contractor for helping to address this in a timely fashion. On October 5th, the library was closed for a shared staff training with the Brandon Township and Holly Township libraries. In the morning, we had an excellent speaker about communication, including customer service, both working with the public and colleagues, dealing with conflict, and improving teamwork. In the afternoon, we had a presentation by some of our staff sharing what they had learned at a workshop they attended in August, a review of the locations of recently moved collections and the locations of important safety features such as fire extinguishers and fire doors. And we wrapped up the day with departmental meetings allowing for job-specific updates and discussions of procedures. It was a successful day, and the staff evaluations indicated that the topics covered were interesting and useful.
Very good.
Yeah, it was a really good day.
Yeah.
It was a very good day.
It sounds like it, and it's good to get together with the other libraries.
It was, and it made it a lot of fun, and it was a very cost-effective way to do it because we got a great speaker and we shared the cost.
Mhm.
If any of us had done it individually, it would have been a lot more expensive.
Definitely.
On October 24th, we are taking advantage of another opportunity for shared learning on time management and strategic delegating for the library's supervisory staff. By sharing the cost of trainers with neighboring libraries, we can improve the professional development opportunities for our employees in a very cost-effective way. In terms of project updates, on September 27th, I attended the Community Engagement Summit in East Lansing as part of a panel of libraries sharing the way they have used their Harwood training in interesting ways. It was a great day of learning and sharing. I was asked lots of questions about our community conversations regarding Depot Park and made connections with a number of library directors interested in learning about how to replicate some of what we did in their communities. Each board member has been provided with a brochure from the training featuring the 3 libraries on the panel, including our own. So that's the color pamphlet that's in your place.
Yeah.
Next item, recently I was approached by the Clarkston Community School District asking if we would be willing to use our Harwood training to conduct community conversations regarding local schools. This information will be used as part of their strategic planning process. I met with the school's marketing director and the superintendent's assistant to get these sessions scheduled. We will include conversations with the public as well as additional specifically targeted sessions with students and older adults to ensure their voices are heard during this process. Libraries gather and disseminate information, so this is an opportunity for us to assist with that process within the community and provide a valuable service to one of our community partners.
That's very, very
I'm very excited
The
about
entire
this one.
community and that. I'm very excited that we're doing this.
And last but not least, as part of the library's updated phone system, we have built a new collaboration with the Clarkston Community Historical Society and Museum. CCHS has purchased a phone from our system and has paid to port their current number into our system. We will calculate an appropriate amount that will contribute to cover their phone bill within our system. This is a win-win for 2 organizations sharing space in the same building. CCHS will save money on the cost of their phone service while chipping in on the library's costs. The library and CCH will each keep their own well-known phone numbers, but we will now be able to transfer calls to each other. Until now, callers have had to hang up to dial the number of the organization they wish to reach, even though we're in the same building. This will allow for seamless service that callers expect to be able to deliver when we're in the same building. In addition, we will be able to use the intercom and paging system between the CCHS office and the rest of the library, allowing for more efficient communication. So when we need to talk to each other, we don't have to run across the building. We will be able to ask a quick question by just intercoming back and forth.
And defer a little of the cost.
Yes, yep, and we're sharing costs, and so that was a great opportunity. So thank you to CCHS board for wanting to be a part of that. And that's all in the director's report.
Lots of good news, lots of things happening, and this is wonderful. I love
Yes.
this. Yeah, it helps in there. Perfect.
So was it unknown or not very well known to quite a few of the people that were at that meeting?
At the summit?
The Harwood?
Most of them knew what Harwood was. Some of them had actually gone to the same grant training that we had gone to. And the whole point of the summit was to talk to libraries who had really done something like that training and how they've used it in a unique way. A lot of them had done community conversations, but the libraries that were invited had done something sort of unique and different. Ours was the Depot Park. I can't remember, I think it was the Caro District Library. They ended up with a community conversation, and the topic of their community conversation came out to be wellness within the community, and people were concerned about weight and nutritious eating and things like that, and it ended up creating a collaboration with their parks to extend some of the walking paths and bike paths to make them more connected, because they had a bunch of, here's a bike path, but you couldn't get from one to the other. And because the conversation came out, they were able to get a bunch of groups to the table to make it happen, which was really a cool thing that they were able to do. And then Benzonia created some really neat collaborations with their schools that resulted in a mentoring program for at-risk teens, which was really, really cool. So, yeah, so everybody came up with something that was a little bit different. And we were all ready to try.
Because every community is different and has
Right.
different needs, so.
Exactly.
Each community.
Yeah.
Very good.
Moving on to regular business, we have first item on the agenda, renewal of the 2018-2019 health insurance plan. And this does look like good news for all involved, not too much of an increase.
No, each year at this time, we review the health insurance plan that covers the full-time library employees. This year, our insurance agent recommends the renewal of the HAP 1200 Gold PPO and the Senior's Choice Medicare Supplement plan selected last year. There's a 2.68% increase in the HAP plan premium and a 3.8% increase in the Senior's Choice plan premium. These increases are well below the 6 to 7% increases that we've been seeing in recent years. So, not to mention the fact that, remember, last year we went to this age-rated plan, and for nearly all of the employees, it dropped significantly.
It did.
And for the library overall, it dropped significantly as well. And the coverage is better, so.
Right.
That should be very good. All right, do we have any questions, any comments on this?
Small increase is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I move that we approve the renewal of the HAP 1200 Gold PPO and Senior's Choice Medicare Supplement Plan as presented, and authorize the library director to sign the paperwork on behalf of the library.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the renewal of the gold, $1,200 gold PPO and the Senior's Choice Medicare plan. Is there any more comments or questions? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has passed. Next on the agenda.
This one's a little more complicated, but we should remember from last year. On September 10th, the library received a letter from HAP informing us that we would be receiving a rebate as part of the requirements of the Affordable Care Act. The library's rebate will total $3,982.98 and must be used toward health care. We also received a rebate the last 2 years and propose handling this one in the same way. We will deposit the check into budget line item 716, which is healthcare, to hold the funds until the distribution can take place. According to the documentation from HAP, these funds should be distributed based on the division of contributions toward healthcare premiums. In this case, the employees contribute 20% and the library contributes 80%. So the total amount attributable to the employee contributions is 20% of the rebate, or $796.60. The library portion will be used toward future healthcare premiums, and the employee portion will be divided and returned to the employees through a one-time reduction of payroll deduction for healthcare premiums based on the plan each employee had in, 2017, sorry about that. Should say so, 2017.
Sure.
The amount each employee will receive is as follows. The Medicare supplement, and there are 2 employees, would be $43.22. The single person plan is 2 employees, and that they would each receive $58.79. 2-person plan, there's 1 employee, $134.79. Family plan, 3 employees, $152.57 each. This method provides appropriate documentation that the funds are being used for healthcare. Since healthcare premium contributions are pre-tax, this distribution method ensures the funds are returned the same way they were contributed and are subject to the appropriate taxes upon return. I've spoken to our accountant regarding the legal requirements for distribution and the necessary documentation for the auditor. This distribution will take place on the November 2nd and 16th payrolls as needed based on the current per payroll contribution amounts. Any questions on that? I know it's complicated and the amount of work that goes into it. I don't know what we're going to do next year because this age-rated plan, everybody has a different amount. And
Right, it's going to be harder to figure out.
I used an awful lot of algebra to get to this. So.
And it's a very good explanation,
Yeah.
and each employee receives their own, has received, I believe by now, their own letter from him.
Yep.
And so
For that.
the distribution will come to them in 2 pays.
Well, for most, for some of them it'll come as 1 and some of them will come as 2. It depends on how much their per payroll contribution is. Some of them are low enough that there's it won't be one contribution. So they'll get one contribution basically waived, and then there'll be a little bit left over, and they'll see the rest of it in the next one. So there's a little bit of calculation I have to do to make sure that that comes out properly, but
It is complicated, but
it is complicated.
I would think though that most of the employees understand this when they read the letter. It seems pretty clear.
Well, this is the third year we've done it.
And
Yeah.
so,
But I am concerned next year is going to be, there are going to be a lot more hoops to jump through because the system is, the premium system, everybody has their own premium because it's age rated, so it's based on your own personal age.
Oh,
This one, at least, this is the last year where the plans were based on number of people in the plan, so I'm already thinking about how
we'll
I'm
have
going
to
to deal
take
with
a
that
look
next year.
next year before you
We may
start.
come up with a completely different way of doing it. There are other options, but this seemed to me something that the employees would appreciate the most. But if it's going to get too complicated, if I'm going to spend 3 days doing the calculations, it might not be worth it. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, I mean, there,
Yeah.
yeah, it does get more and more complicated all of the time, but, yeah.
I'm making a note to look at it at some point when I have a few extra minutes to think about it before next year. Because what happens is this comes in the middle of budget season when we're writing the budget and getting the budget approved. And that's not the best time to have to sit down and do those calculations.
No,
And so
and
I would look
where
at-
it's fairly straightforward,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
I keep copious notes, so all I had to do was get out last year's copious notes, and all the calculations were right there. I just plugged in the new numbers and got myself to the answer pretty quickly. So next year it could be more complicated.
We appreciate it. You did it.
yes, it was understandable.
Okay.
Thank you.
We need a motion to approve the distribution plan if there's no more questions.
All right, I will move to approve the distribution plan for the half rebate as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the distribution plan for the half rebate. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? No. All right. Motion has passed. A third item on the regular business is a review of the third quarter financials.
So you should have your third quarter financial report. I just have a few things. I'm not actually going to recommend any budget adjustments tonight. I think we want to wait and do some of those a little closer to the end of the year, when we have a little bit better handle on how much we might need to make for the
Okay.
adjustments. But if we start on our spreadsheet in the revenue section, which are the numbers 403, 568, 638, that section. The thing I'd like you to notice in column A is what we budgeted. And the budget for the library for 2018 was $1,964,684, sorry. If you look into column C, the 9-month actual and what has been collected, $2,012,480. So we are up in revenues. There's a couple revenues in column C minus A, so the fourth column, the one way on the end. You'll notice that in parentheses, book fines, so we're down in book fines, which we know because we started doing auto renew, and it really is based on how well
Wonderful.
people are about getting their materials back on time. So obviously people are doing better, and we're not collecting as much money for that. The next one down that isn't in parentheses is the E-rate rebate. That is in parentheses because it has not come yet. It comes way near the end of the year. We do still expect it. I think it usually comes November, early December, so we have, that's not, it will come. I'm not worried about that. And then the duplicating and photocopying, we're down for what would be predicted for this time of year, $655. And that's another thing. We can't predict how much people are going to print or photocopy. So we may want to adjust those numbers going forward in the next year or two, since we're not bringing in as much revenue from that. Okay, so then jumping down under wages, in the 706 line, that's the full-time wages. You'll notice that we are fairly under budget in that. Remember that we had 2 full-time employees who left, and so there was a period of time when we were not paying full-time employees while we were hiring a replacement, both our team librarian and our head of adult services. So if you look down under part-time wages, under total part-time wages, you'll notice that we are really, really tight right there. And that's because, of course, when you're down a full-time employee, you fill the work with part-time employees. So I suspect between now and the end of the year, we won't want to take some of that money out of that full-time number and put it in the part-time number, make sure we have our budget.
Switch over.
So that's something to keep in mind. You'll also see under 715 FICA, So we're running that number a little bit tight as well. That might need to be adjusted slightly. It's not, we're not over budget, but it's a little tight, so I'm keeping a close eye on that. And the same thing with the workers' comp. The workers' comp is an estimate at the beginning of the year, and so when those bills start coming in, we notice that sometimes they're not exactly spot on, so that one we may need to make, that's one of the ones we usually have, we make a slight adjustment, and it's a tough number to guess. Flipping over to the other side. Let's see. We'll notice under special events in the adult 818.7, it is a little bit over budget at this time if you're looking at the 9-month actual, but you'll remember that some accounts are spent evenly through the year and some are not, and that one I'm not real worried about. I suspect that there are a bunch of things in there, that programs and things that have been prepaid, so I'm not worried about that going over budget. And we do have in that whole section, that 818.7 number, we are well under budget in our business programs. We've had a lot of things this year that have been done pro bono, so we've got some money there. So even if we were to be a little bit over at the adult, we could make the obviously money right there to use. So I'm not worried about that one. Electrical, we are slightly over budget at this particular moment. So we may need to make a slight adjustment there. That's another thing, you just never know. It depends on how much the air conditioner runs, that kind of thing. So we may need a nudge before the end of the year. Building and grounds maintenance, that's another one that has a lot to do with how many repairs we have to do. We just had to have the HVAC repaired yet again. So I suspect there'll be a budget adjustment there. But we've got some line items that we're well under, so I think we'll be able to shuffle some money around and make that work out okay. And those are the primary ones that I'm keeping a close eye on. Everything else is pretty good or well under budget. So, any questions, comments, concerns about any of those lines?
It's good to have a budget that we're very comfortable with, and
We're getting to the
surprises.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're pretty comfortable with things and not too many surprises.
we don't need a motion or any vote on that. That was mostly purely informational for tonight. Our fourth and the regular business approval of the library closure for the 2019 staff training day.
Earlier this year, the library board approved the closure calendar for 2019, but it did not include a date for our annual staff training day. Because we were doing a shared training with the Brandon and Holly Township Libraries for our 2018 training, we wanted to wait and see how it went, then schedule the 2019 date in coordination with those libraries. Next year, we would like to have our shared training on Friday, October 4th, 2019, and are requesting permission to close the library on that day. And it sounds like next year we will be hosting. This year, Brandon hosted, and next year we will host.
And then you can post next year.
Yeah.
I think because it worked out so well, but
Yeah, it seems to work
it should be continued.
It was a really good thing. We found out that the Orion Township Library teamed up with Troy, and so I think what we're thinking we might do is we'll trade and work with Brandon next year, and then we're thinking maybe the following year we'll rotate some of the other libraries. So maybe we'll work with Orion and they'll work with Troy, and we'll start to rotate around so that we're doing.
Well, because that might bring like some fresh thing to each group that way.
We can't get everybody together. Nobody really has a building big enough to bring all the staff together all at the same time. So we're thinking about ways of kind of rotating them through and meeting up with different groups and whatever.
It brings fresh ideas and new perspectives.
Yeah.
And when I talked to you about all of that the other day, and you were talking about the Brandon, she had the board come in the afternoon. I'm wondering if there isn't at some point in time some educational opportunity for us.
I think that would be a good idea. What they did was we brought in Pat Wagner, who's a consultant in Colorado, and we flew her in. So the 3 libraries paid to bring her in. They had her all day. We had her for the morning session, and then we came back to our library in the afternoon and did things on our own. So I'm thinking maybe next year, if we were to bring in a consultant that would do an all-day thing for us, then maybe we would bring in our board in the afternoon. So it was the libraries together in the morning, and it was the home library and their board in the afternoon, which I think would be really cool. So I like that. I thought it was a really clever idea.
Well, it was a really good idea, and and we shortly after I came on the board, we had that training out at Rochester,
Oh, yeah.
and that was fabulous.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I think it was very shortly after I came on board. And, and just, I know that we don't want to do it like all the time, but I think occasionally, if there was an opportunity like that for the board, that would be a good thing,
I think
because
so too.
we would get some fresh ideas too, so.
I think that's a great idea. Like I said, I like the clever way that Brandon had kind of worked that out. And it was really nice because they're a much smaller staff than we are, so they had, I would say, probably half as many employees for the whole day. And then we had twice as many employees for half the day. And so basically what happened was primarily Brandon and Clarkson split the cost of bringing.
Yeah, because Holly is very small.
They only had 4 employees there, so they supplemented, but really they, but it was nice to have them there because they brought in some fresh ideas and we both work closely with their patrons as well, so it was nice to hear some of the perspective that they have. So.
I move that we approve a library closure on Friday, October 4th, 2019 for the annual staff training day.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the library closure on Friday, October 14th, 2019. Are there any more questions?
October 4th.
Or October 4th. October 4th, 2019. Right. Thank you for correcting that. Are there any more questions or comments on this? If no, all right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has passed. Now we have a very difficult one.
Dan's not here.
Because Dan is
Oh, that's right. I move to adjourn. I'll second.
Oh, did you want to comment on your
And the
workshop?
other one.
Oh,
yeah.
excuse me, I do need to say that. We had a special meeting scheduled for 6:30 this evening, but due to the fact that there was a committee involved in preparing the materials for that, and 2 of those members are not here this evening, and the fact that the 4 of us don't feel that we want to take responsibility for scheduling another meeting without them here, we are just canceling the special meeting that was to happen at 6:30, and it will be rescheduled at a later date.
Sounds good? Yeah. Okay, now I think you.
Now for that motion.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in
Okay,
favor?
so when we did it the second time, it was Allison and Jan. The first time it was Allison and Mary.
Oh, that's true.
So
Whichever, it doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, it could be, yeah.
okay, it can be Mary. Okay.
Sure, leave it, Mary. You already had that written down, I don't care.
That's good.
I appreciate it.
Sorry, I
This is
didn't
the
mean
hardest
to
job
interrupt.
that I've had in a long
I
time.
know. What happens with Dan down here?
I'll let him know.
Tell me, appreciate it.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:27 p.m.